Hello there, everybody. My name is Shelby, and I guess this is going to be kind of like my video diary thing, where I talk about what I'm going through in my life and all about what I am trying to get done and where I am in my life. And right now, I've just turned 32, and basically, I'm unemployed, okay? I know there's a whole job crisis out there, but if you had asked me where I would be at 32 when I was 17, I would have said I would have had a house and 2 kids by now, but not even close to that. I'm basically living at home with my mom. And in terms of relationships, I've never even had a boyfriend. I did hook up with a guy at one point just to say that I did it. We'll go into that later. That's a whole different story, but I've never had a real relationship, and basically, I'm unemployed, I'm not in any type of education, and I really don't have any job prospects. Now, you may be wondering how that happened. So, when I was 18, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called inflammatory bowel disease. And the type of inflammatory bowel disease that I have is called ulcerative colitis. And that resulted in multiple surgeries and multiple complications, which basically means that I get sick probably 6 to 8 weeks out of the year. Even now, there's still just times when I'm unable to work, and most jobs don't offer accommodations for that level of sick leave, especially the jobs that I'm going for, which is retail and fast food. It's just really inconvenient for any company. They're running a business, and if you have multiple absences for whatever reason, normally you only get 2 weeks of sick leave a year. And the primary reason I keep losing jobs at this point is because of my illnesses. And in addition to that, I have severe ADHD. Now, some of you may be like, oh, everybody has ADHD. Everybody has ADHD, Shelby, but mine is really bad. And I've tried everything in the book, from exercising, doing different kinds of diets, taking every supplement known to man, doing EMDR, doing neurofeedback. I've done a lot of things outside of taking stimulants to treat my ADHD, and nothing has worked. And I might even have a bit of the tism as well. I'm not really sure. As you can see, I can't even sit still just doing this. I'm always moving and stuff like that. To be honest with you, I really don't know what to chalk up my lack of employment to, but just know that it's not for lack of trying. So over the last 10 years, since about the age of 22, when I first started trying to look for jobs, I've had probably 2 to 3 jobs per year since then. And some of you may ask, why don't you go through a state disability agency? Well, I actually did do that. And I ended up losing that job as well due to mental health problems. Or so they said, but that's a whole different story. We'll get into that at a later date. I'll do a whole different video about why this agency really screwed me over, honestly, but we'll see about that. So I did end up holding a job for a year at that disability agency, but then due to COVID, which was literally due to the Rona, it was over in I know that was 5 years ago, right? So I tried to get another job outside of it, and then I went back to the agency after that didn't work, and then I ended up losing the agency job from the disability agency because I do have a state-identified disability. Unfortunately, it's because I'm technically able-bodied enough to work, just not mentally capable enough to work. I'm in that weird position where it's they think that I'm just not trying, and they think that I just don't want to. They basically think that on paper I'm just willfully unemployed, and that's just not true. I would like to be able to work. At this point, I'm just trying to figure out why I'm unable to maintain employment. A lot of times it's because I learn very slowly. My fluid intelligence is low. So what is fluid intelligence? Fluid intelligence is the ability to adapt to new information, and fluid intelligence is the ability to learn things on the fly and learn things spontaneously. And for me, that's very low. I have a hard time dealing with change in my environment, so I don't know if that's the tism or my ADHD, but I have this mental rigidity about me that I think that is a bit. I've always had it, to be honest with you. Learning has always been a bit of a challenge. I didn't really struggle. Well, I want to say I got good grades in school, but it was at the expense of everyone's mental health, including mine and my parents. So in terms of school, I had to work my ass off to graduate, and I did end up graduating with honors, actually, from high school. And when I got to college, like a lot of women with undiagnosed ADHD, I ended up really struggling with that. I was not able to maintain a level of self-accountability. I'm going to get emotional, but it does suck to not be able to feel like you have the capacity to do something but not be able to do it. And unfortunately, I just, in combination with, like, I wasn't expecting to get emotional, but I really wanted to do well in university, but it just didn't work out. And I also ended up getting really sick, so I ended up having to drop out not just once, but 3 times. So I tried it 3 times at multiple different schools, and to no avail. And it just sucks to be at a place in your life where, by all of the external standards, you're basically a failure. Now, I don't want to say that it's never going to change, because anything can change. But at this point, I really don't have any prospects outside of, like, just, I don't know what. I do art, which I'm going to post here, I guess, you guys. I'll post my art and see how that goes. But in all honesty, it really does suck to be 32, kind of have ADHD, a little bit of the autism, have inflammatory bowel disease, and basically be unable to work despite my best efforts. And despite going through government agencies, Ticket to Work, vocational rehabilitation, all that stuff, which I've done, and it didn't really help. So I don't know if it's like a character defect in me, but I really do want to be employed. I want to make money, obviously, and pay my bills. At this point, I really only need like $1,200 a month to cover everything, because I don't have rent. And my parents are still helping me with a lot of my bills. I'm on my family phone plan still. My mom basically pays for everything, so I hate that for me. I do hate the fact that I have to depend on my parents. I'm glad that that's an option for me, to depend on my mom. But it does suck to still basically be in a child's place at 32. And there's a lot of shame that goes into that. Like, my day, I try to keep a regular schedule, but honestly, my day doesn't really start until like noon. I woke up today at like 5 o'clock, but then I fell back asleep at 10. So I'm trying to like get up early. Maybe 5 is too ambitious, honestly. Maybe I should just try for like 8 o'clock or something like that. I do have a regular schedule when it comes to meditating, reading, walking, and I'm about to start going to the gym as well. I've never really done a structured workout plan. I know I did mention that I've done exercises and stuff, but I really want to take this to the next level. So I do have a bit of money from something. I don't want to go into why, but I wanted to use it to invest into my health. And part of that is going to be me going to the gym and probably going to a powerlifting gym. And this is going to be a multi-$1,000 investment, right? So over the next, the gym that I want to go to is called Starting Strength, and I think they basically do group workouts there in terms of powerlifting. So you're basically lifting heavy weights, and you have like one trainer per 5 people. So it's a lot more affordable than having a one-on-one trainer. And I like the price of the gym, and there's one that's about 30 minutes from me. And I really want to get into that to see if it'll help my mental health and my concentration and focus. I've also just applied for more jobs. I don't know if it's going to be working at all, if it's going to even be worth it. I also just put some of my art up at an art market. So I do art. You guys probably can see some of it in the background. I'll have to do a tour of my studio later, you guys. But I am very blessed to have parents that did not kick me out just because I have a disability. I see, like, there's this show on YouTube called Soft White Underbelly, where they show all these people that don't have their parents' support when they get in trouble with a mental health issue. And I don't know where I would be without my parents. At the same time, I kind of blame them. It's weird. I'm grateful for them, but at the same time, I feel like there's a lot more that could have gone right in terms of the way I was raised. But we'll get into that later. I hope they don't find this and then feel like I'm blaming and complaining about them, because I am grateful for them. I'm just going to go on record and say that I'm grateful for my parents for not kicking me out. But at the same time, it's like, you guys, they kind of built me. They built me, guys. But I'm 32. You can't just sit here and blame your mommy and daddy for the rest of your freaking life. It's ridiculous. So I'm going to take some of the money that I do have set away that was basically part of, I don't want to go into why I have it, but basically I have it. So it's not money that I earned, but it's money that I got, and I don't want to waste all of it. I would rather it grow over time, but at the same time, there's different forms of investment, right? I can just let it sit there and just not do anything with the rest of my life until I'm 80, or I can take some of it now and invest it into my health. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Like I said, the powerlifting thing is something that I really want to do. There's also an art studio around town that's very close by to my house, about 20 minutes away. And it's a very affordable place to learn art. You can get 4 art classes, 3 hours, for $125 for all 4 classes. And I was going to do that once a week. So it's like $125 a month, essentially. And I was going to do that with the money that I have. And I really want to be conservative with it because, you know, no matter what happens, like, that's probably the only money I got. But at the same time, I do want to sort of invest in myself. And hopefully, I know it probably won't fix everything, but I'm hoping that at least it will improve my mental state and my quality of life, if nothing else. So the jobs that I applied to were Costco and Lidl and Aldi. They pay a decent wage, but honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to handle that level of work. Like, the physical demand of those jobs is quite high, and I understand that, and I'm just trying to, like, throw stuff at the wall and see what happens at this point. Because I want to make at least $15 an hour. I live in Georgia, so I don't live in the most expensive states. And basically, I don't know where I'm going to go with my life at this point, you guys. I remember thinking that when I was 17, my life would be in a completely different location, especially even 10 years ago when I was 22. I had thought that maybe I would be done with school, that I would have a job of some kind, that I would be doing something. I can't even maintain employment at a Wendy's, for example, or a Kroger, for example. And maybe that's because I'm overqualified, or I'm just too smart to work there. That's a possibility. They say that if you have a certain level of IQ, it's actually detrimental for menial jobs. And I'm not going to say I'm a genius, but I guess I'm sort of above average, and I'm at that weird place where it's like, I have a learning disability, but at the same time, I'm smart. And they say basically if you have a certain level of IQ, it's basically like you need special education. I never really got that, so I guess I'm just out here winging it. Deuces. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just out here doing what I do. And maybe I'm just not able to do these menial jobs because I don't know what. I don't want to say I'm above any kind of job. It's not that I feel like at an ego level that I'm above any type of job. It's that I really struggle to do these basic jobs because the repetition drives me absolutely fucking insane. I'm not even kidding. I don't know if it's a lack of discipline, but just doing the same rote thing for 20 hours a week even is so hard for me that it's almost insane. Now, I can try to dissociate and, like, pretend to be somewhere else, but at the same time, then your boss gets onto you for dissociating and zoning out. I mean, I get sat down for zoning out at work. Probably that's usually the reason I get let go, is because I'm zoning out and I'm not paying attention, and I'm not putting on my customer service voice, and I'm not putting on my customer service face. And I don't understand professionalism very well. I try as best as I can to do these things, and I'm usually on time. I mean, almost always on time. At least I'm punctual. I have regular transportation because my mom bought me a car. So I don't really own anything, honestly, you guys. My mom bought me a car. My mom pays my bills. I feel bad about that. I really want to change that, and I don't really know how. So if anybody has any ideas of how to make like $1,200 a month take-home pay, doing something besides retail and fast food or delivery, because my car is too old to do delivery at this point. It's breaking down. I really don't even like driving it anywhere because it's so old. It keeps getting, we've put more into repairs into it than we've actually paid for the car. So I'm not like complaining about it. I mean, I guess I am, but at the same time, like, that's the way it is. So, man. So maybe if you guys are out there, you feel like you're kind of a loser and behind in life, just know that you're not alone. I'm out here feeling like a loser and behind in life too. So if you guys have any ideas on how to make extra money, like $1,200 a month, maybe with my art or something like that, but it's so hard to get an art career off the ground, but I really don't want to give up. I'm hoping that by taking some art classes I can get some more skills. Maybe I can take a business class or something, like on how to improve my art career. But I feel like this has been therapeutic for me just to talk about this, because I'm a bit of a misanthrope at heart and a bit of an antinatalist as well. At one point I did want kids, but nowadays I really just don't think that's going to happen. I'm already 32, so that gives me like 3 years before I have a geriatric pregnancy. And I'm single, and I'm basically 4B at this point because I've been with one man my entire life. I mean, I know there's kind of a limit. Like, I feel like the red pill guys are like, oh, she has to be pure, she has to have a low body count. But at the same time, like, if you have a low body count at a certain point, I hate to say this, but you're basically an old maid. I've been with one guy my whole life. I can count on like one hand the number of times I've been with a man. And I guess I just handle my own business, if you know what I mean, but it sucks to be like out here feeling like you have no skills, because I basically do have no skills. And I wonder if anyone else can relate to that. I don't know if anybody else is still watching this at this point, but this is really just me talking about my life and talking about what it's like to be unemployed at 32, essentially trying to figure out what to do with myself. And I really don't know what to do. I want to get consistent on YouTube, but I really don't know if that's going to be a thing that I can handle because I suck at consistency. But I'm going to try it out. I'm going to go ahead and post this and see what happens. And we're going to just go from there, I guess. So, yeah. Anyway, this is basically my life. Unemployed at 32. No job. No man. No marriage. No property. I mean, I don't want to focus on the negative, but I think a lot of it is my mindset, to be honest with you, but I've never been in an ecosystem that's highly positive and highly supportive, if you know what I mean. And I know there's people out there like David Goggins or something like that who come from even worse than I do. I come from a pretty nice background, I guess. But at the same time, I feel like there was a level of like neglect that happened emotionally, and I never really developed emotionally. I feel like I've always been behind my peers in terms of like my emotional intelligence and my self-regulation especially. And because of that, I'm on medication because my parents never taught me how to self-regulate, so they just drugged me. So there's that. And this is hashtag no filter. I mean, I guess this is just what it is. I don't know what else to say about it. I'm just going to like start posting, I guess, and see if you guys like it or not. So basically, if you want to hear more about my life and more about kind of being a loser, not really a loser, but if you just want to like join the journey on like how I feel about the world, you can go ahead and subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, and tell me what you're going through and how that's affected you in terms of like being pessimistic, having a lack of opportunity or having a lack of skills, and how that's impacted you in this economy. And even if you have skills, maybe you have a degree and you're still unemployed. I really don't know. But anyway, that's my story for today. Thanks for listening, you guys. Again, my name is Shelby. I make stuff and I exist. That's it. Thank you again. Peace.